Hi everybody. Okay, so I figured I would share with you a how-to for spiritual self-care. Let's talk about why self-care is such a trend first. Self-care is a huge trend because this is a generation, the young millennial generation, where we don't have an off switch. We do not have a switch to turn off at all and ever. In other words, when we are online, we can be online in the morning, we could be online at night, we are on the phone working in the morning, we're on the phone working at night. Our parents' and grandparents' generation had an end to their workday. In this generation, there is no end to the workday. The work continues and continues, which is amazing. Tons of opportunity, but really, really very draining mind, body, and soul-wise because there's really never an off time. I would argue that even on the Sabbath, the Shabbat, for those of us who observe it, it's also very difficult to say that there's an off time because even though we unplug our electronics and our internet, we're still very much plugged into life, whether it be the demands of family life or maintaining great relationships and friendships and community relationships. Hosting and hospitality can be very taxing. So Shabbat's beautiful and there for existential happiness so we can appreciate what we have, but we're also on. We're very much on. You're not supposed to sleep all of Shabbat. So between the fact that we've gone absolutely bonkers with this whole internet, social media, working morning and night thing, and the fact that there's no opportunity to turn off, I would say that it makes a lot of sense why this generation, why this time has a very hot trend of self-care. The problem is people are buying into a counterfeit version of self-care, whether it be going to the spa and getting their nails done and facials and massages, or whatever version of vacation people think that they need. There is a very superficial self-care that's around that does not really nourish the soul. There are three things that I would like to propose as a how-to for spiritual self-care. And the only reason I figured this out was because I was able to access it for myself. I'm very open to adding and editing this. So please do, hop in if you think you have some ideas. And just because I see somebody watching was on a retreat with me a few weeks ago, I want to say it was very much because of this retreat that I had my eyes open. Okay, so here are the three things you need if you want spiritual self-care. You ready? Number one, you need time. Time to not be running from chore to chore, from errand to errand, going, whether it be carpool is your thing or work is your thing, whatever your obligations are, you need to be able to press pause for a day, for 3 days, for 3 hours, whatever it is. And when you press pause, it has to be quiet. It cannot have demands. It cannot have the demands of the internet. It cannot have the demands of family. It cannot have the demands of friends. No demands, no outside voices, no one telling you what to do, just you. Time with just you and God, if you want to say God. For those of you who feel God with them. And I would say for myself, I like time with God. I don't want anybody around sometimes, just me and God. And I am an introvert, but it goes for extroverts also. We need time. That's step one. Step two, we need connection. There is so much connection online. There's so much beautiful connection I see on Facebook every single day. We get to celebrate birthdays with one another. We get to mourn with each other in tragic times. There's a lot of possibility for connection, but there's also a lot of fake book, as they say, a lot of keeping up with a certain image that you want to project online. Whatever the photos are that you're taking, whatever the videos are that you are sharing, those are the things that you want people to notice about you. That's the image you're building up of yourself, your reputation, your brand, right? Like that is who you're pretending to be. But we all know it's not true. There's so much more to you than that. That real connection, that vulnerable, real connection, the part where you struggle, because everybody has a struggle, that is where you're going to find the real connection. Someone who you can be vulnerable with and who can empathize with you or sympathize with you. So number one is time. Number two is connection. It's critical in spiritual self-care. The third one in spiritual self-care is inspiration. Finding people, voices, music, lectures, books, podcasts, I really don't care what it is, but finding time and the right communicator, the right platform to receive inspiration. We need to be receivers. We need to be learners. We can't stop just because we grow out of school. Finding inspiration is critical to spiritual self-care. So I'd love to know what your thoughts are, but my three thoughts are for spiritual self-care: number one, time; number two, true connection; and number three, inspiration. Let me know what yours are. Bye, guys.